Good evening. If you're watching live, welcome to episode 197 of About the Cards podcast, live tonight on YouTube, as always, with host Stefan Loeffler at Junkwax Twins.
Oh, hi.
I'm Ben Wilson at Our Trading Cards. We're a podcast by collectors for collectors, and we hope to bring you a smart and insightful podcast discussing trading card collecting. All cards tell a story. What stories do your cards tell? We're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific.
10 Central.
On YouTube, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at About the Cards. We're available as a podcast everywhere you can find one.
Sorry about the late episode this week. YouTube was playing trouble.
Yeah, it's all right. Hey, things happen. Technology at its finest. We want to welcome a special guest, longtime listener, Alex Viscioni.
Hello. What's going on, guys?
Hey, we are well. You can find him at A Viscioni. You have to Google it if you want to learn how to spell it. I'm just glad I can pronounce it right. That's all.
Yeah, you've been hitting it pretty well. I was actually really impressed the first time he said it. I'm like, oh my gosh, he got it right, and he didn't sound like he was trying to order a pasta dish at Olive Garden. He got it.
So
from Pizza Hut.
Exactly.
You are a longtime listener, which we appreciate, and it's awesome. You've been a great friend to not only the show, but Steph and I personally. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and your hobby story.
So I am a Chicago native, currently located in North Carolina. So it's going to be a late night, and I love it. I started I'm a child of the 90s. So I started my collecting journey like every child in the 90s did, and that was with Pokemon cards. I was always very interested in just getting my favorite Pokemon. Like, I didn't care too much about like the game. I mean, I played a little bit, but it was more just keeping my favorite stuff. And I'll never forget, I fleeced my cousin. She had a base set Charizard, and I traded her a Clefable from Jungle for it. And she didn't have a Clefairy, and she could never use it. So if you're listening to this, Haley, sorry.
First off, if Haley's listening, that's friggin' awesome.
Yeah, I know, right?
let's get that out of the way.
Yeah.
Second off, if you're listening, hit us up on Twitter, and we'll give you a StreamYard link, and we can have you versus Alex live.
We'll finally hash this out.
10 Central. Give me back my card.
If only we'll get there, but we lost that card actually in a house fire, so I don't have it, unfortunately.
That sucks. I understood everything you said as far as English, but I understood none of it as far as what any of it meant.
Pokemon.
Charizard's like an 85 Topps McGuire.
Shut up.
And Clefable is like a Greg Gagne.
That's a great comparison, actually. That's a great comparison. I did other trading card games, but baseball, I wasn't as huge into it until I was like 14 or 15. But the only two names I knew as a kid in the 90s were Sammy Sosa and Kerry Wood. My grandma took me to my first Cubs game, I want to say 2001, 2002. Cubs versus Mets, and I sat in the nosebleed section and yelled Mike Pizza Boy at Mike Piazza as loud as I could from the nosebleed section. Nobody could hear me. But I collected a few baseball cards back then. I knew mostly the guys that were featured. This is going to sound ridiculous, but in Backyard Baseball for the computer. So like Jeter, A-Rod. I knew Canseco, McGuire, Sosa, Griffey, all those guys. So those are the guys that I really tried to collect because I was like, oh, I could play as them as kids, and now I have their cards. It's super cool.
Pablo.
So, Pablo, yes. I wish he had a card, but he did not because he's not real, which stinks. So I had a small collection. It wasn't super huge, but there were a few pretty big. At least there were, to me, Sammy Sosa stuff. We we had a house fire in 2005, so that entire collection was damaged by smoke. It wasn't lost, like the fire itself wasn't huge, but the smoke just destroyed everything. So I kind of had to restart, but I wasn't like super concerned about it because I didn't have anything of value except that Charizard. So 2006 hits, and I decided I want to get into sports. I was made fun of for liking cartoons as a 15-year-old kid. So I was like, I'm going to start watching ESPN. I know, right? I'm going to start watching ESPN, and I'm going to pick teams, and I'm just going to become a sports fan. So I watched ESPN like nobody's business, just so kids would stop making fun of me in high school. And I got back into card collecting, and the first thing I opened was a blaster of 2006 Upper Deck baseball. And one of the cards I pulled was Bobby Jenks. And I didn't know anything about baseball at that point. Like, it sounds ridiculous, but like, I didn't know the players. I didn't, like, again, just Derek Jeter, A-Rod, and McGuire, Sosa, who like were at that time were gone. So I'm like, what do I do with these? Like, now that I have them, what do I do? And I looked up that you can mail players cards and they might sign them. So I sent Bobby Jenks his card, hoping he'd sign it, and he did. And from that moment on, I'm like, I'm hooked. Like, I gotta get more of these, both autographs, cards. Like, it just became just so much fun and a nice release from schoolwork and, you know, other stuff like that. So it really became the hobby for me in like 2006. And like, while there were small breaks in between, like with going to college and, you know, grad school and things like that, the love of the hobby never really died down. So I really ramped up my collecting once I got out of grad school, because that's when I finally got like money, because grad school is expensive. And really, ever since then, it's just been collecting what I love, and have a small YouTube channel where I just open stuff. I open stuff with my mom. When I was living in Chicago. Now I'm married and I have a house, and, you know, cards aren't as huge a thing because I have a mortgage now. But, you know, you budget and you make it work, and you just collect what you love, and you rip stuff and you sell stuff to make the money back, and everything works out great. So yeah, I consider myself to be just an average Joe who loves collecting, loves the hobby, loves learning about the hobby. There's things I don't know, and I love learning new things every day, because we're all lifelong learners. Huh?
Come see me.
Come see you.
I can tell you anything.
Oh yeah, he knows everything till he doesn't, and then he asks me, and it's like, Steph, if you don't know it, I don't know it.
Yeah.
See, but what had happened was Rich had processed it wrong, so that's really his fault.
What number was it, by the way?
It was an 82.
What?
There was an issue where Rich had processed a 82. You're gonna have to remind me of the set, something food related, as an 81.
It's the Granny Goose.
Because the player, Tony Armas, has an identical photo, and the back just has slight text differences and the year copyright.
Yeah, he's card number 2 in both 81 and 82.
See, that does not play there.
So it's not. I mean, it's a common mistake. But if Rich Klein ended up cataloging something wrong, I am gonna blow his friggin' phone up tomorrow like nobody's business. Today I wasn't free to do it, but with as much crap as he gives me, you better believe seriously, if Rich Klein and Stefan don't know something,
I assumed it was an 82 just based off the copyright, but I'd rather double confirm and say, hey, Ben, you're an A's collector. This is an A's only set.
Yeah, no, it's
legwork for me.
Yeah, and of course, I'm not next to my A's database at the time, so I was completely, all you can do is go off the copyright. But those Granny Goose cards were only done in 81, 82, and 83 before Mother's Cookies took over in 84. So as a regional release, and Granny Goose was a lot like Donruss, where it was really thin, and the photos were just really generic. I mean, Mother's Cookies really stepped up their game with the card stock and the glossy photos, much, much nicer cards.
See, I was going to say, I hadn't even heard of Granny Goose.
Yeah, again, we talked about this one with Rich, whatever it was last week before, where Granny Goose was 81 through 83. Mother's was 84 through 98. And then 99 was a local plumbers union, which ran to 04. Comcast ran in 05, and then it stopped. So if you want to talk about the whole SGA run from 81 to 05, you have to have all of them. So, and the Ricky Henderson from 81 is not cheap. I mean, it's a very, very challenging card to get if you want to go back and get it. So, what exactly would you say you PC today? I know you have been featured on this show a lot in the mail days of just random crap, and you've had a lot of success.
Yeah.
Some really nice pulls, but that's not necessarily PC stuff. That's just
right.
Open up a box and I pull this awesome Wander Franco auto. Okay, we want to show it, or something out of 50 or
yeah.
A lot of gold out of 50.
A lot of gold out of 50 for me.
Find you, yeah. So, but it's not PC stuff necessarily. Right. It can be. Anything can be PC if you're keeping it.
Yeah, anything can be. My mains are Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is my guy, for sure. I only have 2 Aaron Judge autos. I want to remedy that by getting more, of course, but his stuff's not cheap either. But anytime I pull Aaron Judge, I'm like, oh my gosh, super pumped. I actually pulled this, not to rush to nail days and pulls, but I pulled an Aaron Judge relic out of a hanger box the other day, Major League Material, and I was like, holy crap, it's an Aaron Judge. Like, I was super pumped. My other PC is a little more random. I do collect a lot of Yankees autos and Yankees relics and rookies and such. I do have...
First of all, how dare you?
Sorry, not sorry. I'm gone now. Oh, there I am. Okay.
He likes to have he has this little power at his fingertips.
I know he does. I've seen him shut you off multiple times.
Yeah, he thinks it's so funny. Sorry, just that pause was waiting for me to be.
It is though.
I just see him giggling like the dog at the end of Duck Hunt.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I deactivated that.
Exactly.
Swear to God.
So, I bet he's got to do it. That's why he has the camera on, because he's doing that right now.
He probably tells Ange.
Probably does.
Ange, it did it again.
The Yankee stuff. I have a lot of Phil Hughes stuff. I'm one of the few people who really enjoys Phil Hughes. I know he's kind of, I don't want to say polarizing, but there's people who like him, there's people who don't, and that's fine.
Is this before or after he became a hobby icon?
Before, actually. I had a lot of his stuff before he became the hobby icon, but then I bought more stuff after, because I'm like, oh yeah, Phil Hughes. Now he collects cards? Cool. And then that's it. Right there. And then I have a collection of a guy you probably never heard of. Maybe, Ben, you've heard of him because he used to be an Oakland A's prospect. Ian Kroll.
Yeah, I've got a little bit because he was like in that Miles Head.
Yeah.
There were a handful of guys that were around 2011, 2012-ish, somewhere in there.
2011. Fun fact, the only reason I collect them, my mom taught alongside his dad at the school that my mom taught at for a number of years. When I found that out, I'm like, oh, I want to collect his cards. Yeah. And he found out, and he got me a signed ball. So it was I'm like, oh, I got to keep all this stuff now. So
I have a similar attachment. I found out earlier today that we'd signed a triple backup goalie that hasn't appeared in the NHL in a few years to play for our American Hockey League team that went to the high school in my hometown. He may, uncle's going through the old Pee Wee photos, but he may have been one of the kids that he taught as well. Can confirm that my uncle's played a couple pickup hockey games with him. Mind you, he's a goalie. Oh, wow. But my uncle likes to tell the story of how he set him up for a perfect one-timer and he completely whiffed and snapped his stick. So goalies aren't exactly the best goal scorers.
No, I love that story, though. I love, there's a reason behind collecting somebody. My dad worked with Marcus Thames' aunt, I want to say.
Okay.
And my dad comes home one day and he's like, you got any cards of his? I'm like, probably not.
Right.
And he's like, well, how would I go about getting some? Dude, the internet.
Yeah, eBay exists.
Go to Sport Lots, and for about $4, you could probably have everything the man ever had.
Pretty much.
But yeah, it's neat when my dad used to work alongside a guy named Chuck Griffith, who was a Pittsburgh Pirate briefly, I believe, in the late 50s or early 60s. And so for me growing up in the 80s, when I found out, wait a minute, a former big league player, I don't care if the guy played one game.
Yeah.
When you're 8 years old and you're just now getting into baseball cards, that was a big deal. Then I went to the school, I got to shake his hand. I'm just like, and to this day, I don't know who he is. Like, I know the name, right? But
he played once.
He played once, and that's all that matters. And my dad knew him, and that made my dad pretty cool for 7-8 days, maybe.
Yeah, just about a week, maybe.
But
outside of baseball cards, I do have I do collect a lot of wrestling stuff. Big wrestling fan, and a lot of celebrity signed photos. I'll mail stuff to and get them to sign it. So my number one, I'll tell a quick story real quick. My dad, he's been a police officer for over 30 years, and early on he would help with film shoots that they would do, and my dad got to be the bodyguard for Chuck Norris, which I already know what you're thinking. Why does Chuck Norris need a bodyguard? He doesn't. But
your dad got one.
Yeah, my dad needed one. Chuck Norris is my dad's bodyguard. Really.
Yeah, that's how that is.
Yeah, and I don't know how the conversation happened, but my dad came home with a signed photo made out to me when I was like 2 years old from Chuck Norris.
It's like, yeah, that's one of those ones where you're making it out. Who am I making that to? My kid's name's Alex, but my name's Mike. Can you say to Mike? My kid will love it someday.
Exactly. Little Mike Jr.
Now we just ask people to say just draw a line.
Yeah, exactly.
A line. Because whoever I sell it to can write their own. I mean, that's why a lot of people don't sign anymore, is because
they know it's going to go on eBay,
which sucks because honestly, I've been watching a lot of West Wing lately, and I had a dream last night that I met Martin Sheen and Jimmy Smits.
Yeah.
And I was total fanboy in my dream, and I woke up and realized, dang it. But that's because I've been, but when I went to FanFest, a couple years in a row for the A's, I got one time we stood in line and got, an autograph from an actual, like you're supposed to get a ball signed. But, got out there super early. Everybody's walking into the restaurant where they're meeting before the FanFest starts. And like literally the FanFest starts, and it's like I've met all of the Oakland A's, all of the veteran guys, and people are like all over Dave Stewart. One time he's like, guys, I'm running late. I'm like, hey, Stu, can I shake your hand? And he's like, I got time for that. As he's walking by, right? Shakes my hand.
Yeah.
I got the memory. And guess what?
Right.
He was running behind. He didn't have time. It wasn't he was being rude. He just didn't have time. It was already like 9:15. He's supposed to be in there at 9.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these guys have time to shake your hand.
Right.
Or take a picture. I've got great pictures with Frankie Montas and Liam Hendricks, who was phenomenal to my kid. And remembered my wife from a previous FanFest she had come to us with because she just wanted her name said by him because he's got the Aussie accent.
I love Liam Hendricks.
And he's such a cool dude. And when I told my son Bentley, I'm like, hey, Bentley, take a picture of Liam. I was like, my wife has a crush on you. You had to say her name, Heather, a couple of years because I remember her. And I'm like, I love you forever for that.
That's amazing.
Totally cool. Got down on his knee next to my son, down to his level. Did not ask him for an autograph. You know why? I already have him.
Yeah.
Does the in-person make it better? Yeah, maybe it does. But the memory.
Right.
And that's also one of those FanFests. The first time I met the cardboard icons, Ben and Gary. And you don't get better than that. Meeting a hobby icon while you're meeting all your favorite A's players. I mean,
right.
It's like I could have Ricky Henderson or I can have Ben and Gary. Come on. It's the childhood star versus the hobby star.
Right.
Speaking of childhood stories,
I had that as a kid. That was a classic one. Ancient Mew.
You guys are talking. You know why I never got into Pokemon and Magic? I think I've told this story before. I was in high school, and the kids would play Magic cards before school.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat down and I asked legitimately, hey, how do you play this? And will somebody teach me how to play Magic? And I used some kind of mana or something.
Yeah.
A really common card out of line. And like 3 of them, like, this dude tried to use this on this. And I'm like, seriously? Like, literally 5 minutes ago, you were trying to teach me the rules. I'm trying to learn here. If I'm doing something wrong, let me know I've done something wrong and teach me so that. And then they start laughing at me. And I'm like, dude, I let her in 4 sports for this damn high school. Okay? It's like I'm sitting here playing Magic cards because of, it's cards and I'm interested in cards.
Right.
You're going to laugh at me.
Eating at high school.
Yeah, no, so I went and grabbed a basketball and said, fuck it, guys. I play for the basketball team. Varsity as a sophomore. You know what?
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Out of here, buddy.
Yeah.
And that's the last time I played Magic cards.
I never got into Magic. I went to a Christian school and it was taught that it was evil, so I didn't play it.
Yeah, I'm not bitter about this at all. 27.
Clearly.
I'll probably meet my maker one day and he's like, any regrets? I'm like, listen, dude, when I was 15.
These kids were mean to me about Magic.
And I was like, you know what? I'll see you Saturday night when I'm setting the school record for most assists. It's like, shut up. But yeah, to this day, I'd like to learn to play Pokemon. Well, I got some Pokemon cards for Bentley Christmas before last, and I need somebody to like teach us. But you're not allowed to laugh at us or laugh at me if I'm using it wrong.
There's a digital app that you can try. I even have a bunch of free codes that you can.
I need a friend that wants to sit down. I want to do it like 1994 style, not 2022 style.
Well, 1994 style is the best.
94, so
just okay, whatever. I want to do it pre-internet style. And people are like, it's like teaching somebody chess. Like, just open up like chesskings.com and learn the game. No, I want to sit across the board and find out why you don't open with this move versus that move. It's old school. Come on.
It's actually a pretty basic game, a very basic game.
I'm sure.
Complicated, some basic rules that I think even your capabilities can handle.
I just need somebody to teach my kid so he can teach me. That's all.
Ooh, that's a nice one.
Look at those little sparkly dots.
That's a nice one right there. That's a Firebird, Ben, if you don't know Pokemon. That's a Moltres.
I was going to say, that's a Moltres, not a Firebird. Get out of here.
Well, that's his fire. That's the description, so he understands what it is.
Yeah. So anyway, there's a lot of Pokemon talk. I don't know what this podcast has become over the last few months with Pokemon,
about the
hockey. Hey, we are about the cards. It never said about the
exactly.
And for a long time, people were saying, why do you guys only talk about baseball cards? Just renamed their podcast about the baseball cards. And we're like, you know what? You're actually right. That it is predominantly baseball. And it doesn't need to be. And a lot of that's because our collective area of expertise. And of course, after Shep left, we lost a little bit of the football because he was collecting football. But that's why we bring on different people that do collect different stuff and have tried to do our best to bring on a very eclectic and vast.
Even if argumentative, Jeff.
Yeah, because, I mean, again, we don't know everything, right? We're always learning.
Yeah, and exactly.
Steph's an encyclopedia, but once in a while he'll be like, hey, Rich. He blamed it on Uncle Rich, too. Uncle Rich cataloged this Tony Armas Granny Goose card wrong.
I could show you why he's wrong, and it was his fault, but then you'd have to be employed by ComC.
But that doesn't give me the... I don't work for ComC, so I'm going to make sure that Rich knows. I'm aware that you two encyclopedias reached out to me.
Selski can confirm it.
All I'm saying is that's going to help me sleep better tonight. That's like putting my tooth under the pillow. It's the hobby tooth for the hobby tooth fairy. Uncle Rich needed Ben's help.
Matter of fact,
childhood bucket list.
Here's a code that would give you if I actually showed all of it.
I don't play ComC. So, all right, Alex, you've been around the block for a little while. We've shared our thoughts. Everybody's very aware of where Steph and I land on this particular topic. But what are your thoughts on the hobby now, as in 2021, 22, going into 23 versus a few years ago? We're seeing a big push into this whole arbitrage speculation, now more digital with NFTs. Yeah, and people are throwing the I word around like it's, I'm going to go get Starbucks. It's like, no, you're going to get coffee from the ABC coffee shop. That's not Starbucks. It's not an ad. Again, Band-Aid and, Kleenex.
Yeah.
These are brand names, investments. A lot of people just use it as a bucket word, but it's kind of the era we're in, where everybody thinks everything's an investment.
Right.
What are your thoughts as an older mentality, much like us? And are you okay with the direction the hobby's heading?
Well, and I mean, speak for yourself, Ben, because not everyone is ancient. So I think Alex is about my age.
I am 30.
Yeah, okay.
He's
So
younger.
A few years younger.
Collecting when you're super young, and I'm like, you little youngins.
See, I said about, which is to say,
in a couple years.
Much like this is about the cards. That's just baseball. This is about the same range.
Yeah,
it's close.
That's close.
He's closer to me than he is you.
It's been interesting. So I'm gonna say this as a joke because it's obviously not true, but it kind of started with this guy. I blame Zion Williamson. It's not his fault. He didn't have anything to do with this, but really when he, kind of came into the hobby world in 2019 or so, that's really kind of when I noticed stuff kind of disappearing. Prism basketball, you could get that in 2018 all day long if you wanted to at Target, if you were interested. And then you couldn't find it in 2019. And then, COVID hits and then everybody thinks, oh, I should buy up everything. Gypsy Queen is one of my favorite sets and nobody ever really buys it. And then all of a sudden I go into a Meijer and it's all gone. I was there 3 days earlier and they had blaster upon blaster upon blaster upon hanger and it's gone. And you're just kind of left scratching your head what the heck is going on here? And then you find out who Gary Vee is and you get upset. And there's our boy, Pablo Sanchez. And then it's you want to keep collecting and you feel like you can't because you can't go to a Target, Walmart, whatever, because it's all gone. You have to find out when people are stocking, and then that leaves people resorting to just weird tactics like stalking these poor vendors. Thankfully, things have calmed down a little bit, especially with baseball. Now, I fear that might pick up again with this potential huge rookie class with Witt and Torque and J-Rod and them. But it's calmed down a little bit, but now I feel like it's going to go back up. I'll put it this way. I don't care for it because I have that old school mentality, but at the same time, that means I have to adapt to it. If I want to continue to collect how I've been collecting, I have to adapt. But that also means I need to change how I've been collecting in some ways. So that means buying more singles and buying exactly what I want. This WWE Prism that's coming out, there's a lot of stuff that I want. I want to get as many Alexa Bliss cards as I can. I'm not going to go spend $800 in a hobby box. A, my wife would kill me. B, I could get the Alexa Bliss cards that I want and have plenty of money left over to, buy some paint for this house. It's
you're so responsible. Cut it out.
I can't cut it out. I can't. My mom might be watching the replay right now. She'll be like, be responsible.
Okay. If Haley and your mom are both watching, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah, she will be. I guarantee you. I will send this link as soon as it's up to my mom tomorrow. She'll be watching, and now she'll be texting me as this moment is happening. You're mentioning me. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. Alex's mom. Listen, we're a nice podcast.
They're great.
Collectors, for collectors.
Yeah.
We appreciate moms that watch.
Yeah.
We want to know what Alex was like when he was 8.
You don't want to know what I was like when I was 8. And you don't want to know.
Well, we're about to find out because
she's gonna text me and she's gonna be how can I message these guys? Get a Twitter, Mom.
Ben's not the most popular guy on Twitter, Mom. Sorry. I try to be a nice boy, and then
look for the guy who's antagonizing everybody. So the digital stuff. I'll start with digital stuff. I'm going to be that one guy who goes ahead and says something that's going to cause a big stir, and I don't care because it's my opinion, and that's okay if you disagree. I hate NFTs. I really do. I hate them. I don't think they make any sense. If you want to collect NFTs and you want to go that route, by all means, more power to you. That's for you. Great. It's not for me. I have learned a good bit about it just based on, what I do for a living. It's something that's new and changing and needs to be discussed among various realms, but that's not a thing for me. Not everything needs to be made into an NFT. I don't get it. It's not for me. And that's fine. For those who it's for, great. I would love it if the people who have the flipper, scalper, whatever you want to call them, mentality left physical trading cards and went straight to the digital stuff. But why would they cut out half of their profit when they can have double the profit, right? I don't think that that's going to go away. I think that my own collecting style is I buy a lot of retail. I will occasionally save up and buy a box of hobby, depending on what it is. I'm going to buy a box of Stadium Club every year. I'm going to buy a box of Gypsy Queen every year. I buy a box of Ginter every year. And I know you don't like Ginter. And I'm going to buy usually Stadium Club Chrome because I like shiny Stadium Club.
God, I hated that I love that product so much.
It's so good. It's so good.
Ben was like, not everything needs to be made chrome. True. And then Ginter Chrome came out, and I'm not a big fan of Ginter. Stadium Club Chrome came out, and I'm like, God, why do these? And then you get them in hand, and you're just like, damn, why did they have to
look so good? Then you get a nice
colors
refractor of a guy. It's like, oh my gosh,
hate that.
I hate that. I love it.
But Gypsy is still non-chromed out, so at least we have that.
We have that. Although there are other box toppers, but there's no full chrome thing. Team Rock. Yeah,
the irony though about you mentioning Zion, the seismic shift in the hobby, the real beginning point, really can be traced back to one PC player of yours named Aaron Judge. It's really in 2017 when we really started to see. I mean, it's not like speculation hasn't always been around, right? Greg Jeffries and Seitzers and Van Poppels and so many dudes from back in the day that were speculated on in that original junk wax era. But this new shift really started right around 2017 when Aaron Judge came on and everybody started gobbling up Judge cards and flipping, and then 18 came and you had Ohtani and we've had the obviously the Tatises and the Francos and the Lucas and the Zions. Luca and Zion got caught up into a perfect storm of Gary V and COVID and flippers and stimulus checks and idle hands. That was just I'd love 10 minutes alone on camera with so not alone, with Vegas Dave. I would love to talk to him unfettered.
He's a fascinating guy. I don't care for him, but he's a fascinating guy.
Such an idiot, but hey, people follow. Hey, I mean, again, it's our opinions, right?
Yeah.
But when you call somebody like Vegas Dave an idiot, there's a lot of people that are going to be like, "I'll allow it." Carry on.
Right. That's the one name that people are like, all right, that's fine.
Well, that old. If you ever saw Private Parts, the Howard Stern movie, with Paul Giamatti, his character, I forget the name of the person he's portraying, but hates Howard Stern. And, and they have this conversation. They're like, the average listener that loves Stern listens for, 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about the ones that hate him? They listen for an hour and 4 minutes or some ridiculous amount. Why are they listening so long if they hate him? Because they want to know what he'll say next.
Right.
And I get, like I made a comment about me on Twitter. It comes across just because I have a very direct style of writing. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't like that. It does come across a lot more harsh than it's intended. But I get it. And there's a lot of people that are like, I love your content because there's enough good stuff there. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people do like the conversations I have.
His name was Kenny.
It's not for everybody. And I get that my timeline is not for everybody. Well, nobody's for everybody. If we were all the same person, life would be a little boring.
Oh, agreed. Like there are people who like people that I don't like. I'm sure people don't like my YouTube channel. that's fine. People are allowed to have their opinions on anything and everything, and it's fun to debate. And at the end of the day, as long as we, show respect to our fellow humans and, say good talk, appreciate, agree to disagree kind of thing, that's what I like to have.
Wait, we're supposed to say that?
Well, I mean,
I need to go scrub my Twitter account real quick.
Yeah, say it's Twitter. It doesn't exactly happen that way.
Well, and a lot of times on Twitter, I think the biggest thing that happens, and Twitter's an open forum, so it's the way it's designed, is the fact that you and I will be having a conversation about whatever, and because it's open to everybody and it can come across somebody's going to like what you or I said, and that comes onto their timeline, all of a sudden you get people that follow us or don't follow us that hop into a conversation mid point. I have a good friend named Controversial Raphael who does the 3-point conversion, and I for a time wrote for them. It's a great ESPN more same, like we're for collectors by collectors. These are the sports fan. And I hopped into a conversation that he was in with a mutual friend of ours, and he was talking about a player. I forget who it was now, so many years ago. But his viewpoint was way off base, so I went in and lambasted him. What I didn't know was they were having a conversation with one another where Raphael was intentionally playing the devil's advocate. And that's how that debate was going. Now, Ben hops in mid-debate, not knowing that he was intentionally arguing the wrong side, kind of like political debate prep, right? Where you're going to play the other side so you can try to learn what your opponent might say. And Raphael's like, no, whoa, back up, dude. And we've been good friends ever since, right? I didn't know. And sometimes that happens on Twitter. Somebody will hop in. Yeah. And we all have different personalities. And you hop in and next thing you know, somebody's, I'll be the first one to use a trope. And again, it's not intended to put somebody down. That's how it's going to be received. I get it. But a lot of it's just to lighten a conversation. And hey, sometimes people are okay with that. Sometimes they're not. Yeah. But before we get into the show, we ask every first-time guest, and that, because you are a first-time guest,
I am.
You can only own one card. What would it be? And why is it Haley's?
Why is it Charizard? No, it's funny. I anticipated this question because I've heard you guys ask it, and yet I still am like, what would I pick? See, there's so many directions you can go. You can go vintage, you can go modern, you can go gaming. I think, and the reason I would pick this, I actually already have it. It is a 2019 Topps Gold Label Vlad Guerrero Jr. rookie auto. The reason why, if I got rid of everything, I'd keep this one card, is I went to my hobby shop in Chicago, and I brought the box home. Normally, I at that point I was a quick car ripper. I'm like, I want to see what's in this thing. I brought it home, and
my mom there are other types of collectors.
Oh yeah, 100%. They don't always just post pictures of a card on their leg in their car with no sleeve.
Crotch shots.
Yeah, don't get me started. Those. I brought the box home, and my mom was like, "What do you got?" I'm like, "Oh, I got a box of Gold Label." She's like, "Would it be okay if I open it with you?" I'm like, "Sure." So I said, "So there's X number of packs. I forget how many. I think there might have been 6 or 7." And I was like, "Now this one right here is heavy. This has the Gold Label autograph. We're gonna save that one for last." So we're going through it, and she's reading the names, learning the players. And I'm like, "You want to do the autograph, and I'll guess based on the team." So she opens the pack, and she's looking at it, and she's like, "I think it's Toronto Blue Jays." And my immediate thought, no offense to this player,
yes.
Well, my thought was it's Rowdy Tellez, or
or who is it, Alex K or
Alejandro Kirk.
No, there's one that was K-A-Y. That was
Anthony K.
Anthony, there you go, Anthony.
Yeah, I'm like, it's one of these guys. I'm like, it's Rowdy Tellez, and she's like, no, and I'm like, it's not
Danny Jansen.
Yeah, Danny Jansen, Reese McGuire,
Justin Smoke. Sean Reed Foley. Listen, I'm not saying that I have the checklist.
Put that card down, Mom.
For that set. I'm
I'm
just
like,
saying.
is it Vlad Guerrero Jr.?
Hand that
She's
card
like,
to me.
yeah, literally. She's like, yeah, how'd you know? I'm like, holy crap. Like, I was ecstatic. She's like, is he good? I'm like, is he good? Like, and that was a real big moment for the two of us that, like, ever since that moment, when I've had any kind of pack or box, we've opened it together and we've pulled, before I moved to North Carolina, where now I opened some things in my wife and everything else is on the YouTube channel, so my mom can still see it. But it was like my mom and I have pulled great stuff. We once pulled a Wander Franco green auto at a Bowman's Best that I used I sold it to buy part of my engagement ring. So, like, there's always cool stories like that. But the original question, that 2019 Vlad Guerrero Jr. rookie auto, I've got it. If I got rid of everything else, I'd be content holding that just because of that story.
We got to get Alex's mom on, and that's exactly what we're going to refer to as the whole conversation. I'm sure she has a God-given name, but not on the show.
She's Alex's mom.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Just like when we go over to your house, Mom, because that's always the thing. When you knew moms were cool, when your friends called her mom.
Oh, yeah.
My
absolutely.
Growing up, always we'd go rent Beavis and Butthead Do America from Blockbuster on VHS. Never bought it. Probably spent about $1,000 at
What's
$3.
a VHS?
Okay, and then we always had to rent one for his mom. And the deal was we would rent a movie we could watch with her, but she'd have to make the coffee. And I used to own a coffee shop, but we learned from her technique, so we'd make her make the coffee. And she'd always. A little old German lady, she'd be like, if I make the coffee, boys, will you rent me a movie that I can watch with you? And I don't like Beavis and Butthead. And we're like, listen, woman, you make us popcorn, you're going to watch Beavis and Butthead, then whatever we watch. And sometimes we'd have to get like a rom-com for her, right?
Yeah.
And why she wanted to hang out with us, who knows? But she made awesome coffee, sometimes popcorn, dinner. But she was mom. And I never called her by her name for years. And that's what's awesome. So Alex's mom, and she brings the heat. That's awesome. I'm glad you guys have that memory, because we don't always have that kind of memory.
This is Pablo Sanchez. Just replace Carlos in the name there.
I love that quote so much. I use it when I make like the dumbest joke. I'll just look at my wife who's rolling her eyes at my joke and I'll be like, I am 12.
All right. So do we have a mail day, Steph, from...
I do have a few stacked up here. Let me pull them all up.
Yeah, well, you got it. I ended up picking this up, guys. This is the Joe DeMastri. I got it from Dean's Cards. This is the white bag, the 56 white bag. So I'm only missing the Spook Jacobs. There's only 2 graded ones right now. Once I get that one, that will complete my 56 Topps white bag. So I guess 12 of them, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
The one that I meant to mention last week is, if Twitter will play nice and stop trying to show my DMs again. From previous guest Dewey Lund, he had a return from PSA finally. 2016. Speaking of Vlad Guerrero, Bowen prospects, yellow and silver both came back 10s.
Those are nice.
Very impressive, sir.
Yeah, those are awesome, man.
And
Good stuff.
then from our buddy and frequent mail day Mark Hoyle, he sent along these Tony C 1967 All-Star games given out. If it will show just the picture, cool, thanks. No. Share, boop, ba-doop. Pin. So on the back it says Commissioner of Baseball, All-Star Game. A nice purple pin on the lapel, and on the front it has nice star diamond with a baseball in the center.
Wow.
Personally given to and owned by.
Of course.
Looks great. And then
Mark's got such a tremendous collection of just stuff.
My dum-dum self spent the better part of this afternoon on my breaks creating a Jean-Luc Picard French young gun, but in French it's Jean-Lup's. So John Loops Picard USS Enterprise.
And then he shares it with me. I have no idea what I'm looking at. So I he explains it to me, and I'm just like, okay, neat.
That's amazing.
I was bored and got told to go sit in the corner.
So one of my dear friends, this literally just came across my Twitter timeline. One of my dear friends, Scott Hermanson, he's a local collector, is now officially dead to me. Saber BB Cards tweeted out Wood Grain 1912 through 1987, love it or hate it. Scott responds in 1912, it made sense and fit. It also fit 95 or 1955 Bowman, but the design did not age well. 62 Tops is my least favorite. And despite what Brian Bice, Ben Wilson, and Tim Shepler waxing poetically about the set, I've hated 87 Tops since 1987. So not only is it going to get some time here on about the cards, but I'm going to call Scott tomorrow and read him. And I'll start it out. Scott, love you, brother. Are you dead wrong? I can't believe he did that publicly on purpose and tagged all of us. So anyway.
Now, I will also say that spent the better part of 2 different afternoons with Cracknell. Took him to a Texas brisket barbecue joint. And then on Sunday, we took him to a sub shop and a arcade where you pay $10 at $12 at the door, and all the machines are free. There are pinball machines. There's Area 51. There's Street Fighter. All sorts of games, and we had to blast. Better half of a blast before he scuttled off to WrestleMania.
You have a hobby icon in your Jeep. You didn't brush your hair?
Dude, Jeep hair don't care.
That's awesome. It's a great picture, you guys. Let's hop into the week that was last week's releases. Topps Living Week 212. Card 505, Jaron Duran, rookie card, outfielder for the Red Sox. And card 506, Raisel Iglesias, pitcher for the Angels. Major releases that dropped last week. We had Topps Inception Baseball came out on March 30th. 2020/21 Upper Deck Premier Hockey also came out on the 30th.
I do believe on the 30th as well, there was Upper Deck MVP factory sets.
Okay.
I snagged one myself. The Insights have 2 different versions, either blue border parallel or the silver scripts. Mine was the blue border parallel, unfortunately, but that came out as well.
Nice, yeah. 2021 Panini Clearly Donruss Football also came out on the 1st on Friday. That's a mouthful. And then hot off the presses, new releases this week. Week 213 of Topps Living. Card 507, Trey Turner, shortstop for the Dodgers. And card 508, Josh Donaldson, third baseman for the Yankees. That just looks weird. Great photo.
Who are you telling?
And I've perhaps seen Jared Kelly's probably next week's release. And if you're an A's fan of a specific first baseman who's no longer in Oakland and might have replaced somebody popular in a different city, a different state, not going to be a very big fan, but it's a gorgeous card and I'm going to buy it anyway. But Jared Kelly's going to be on next week, so I can give him a hard time for having to paint such a good-looking, ugly card.
So what you're saying is that we kind of needed MC for that show?
Could be. I love Jared, so I'm not going to give him a hard time, but give him, I'm not superstitious. I'm not superstitious. So just a little hard time.
Just a little.
And the Topps Living Star Wars has a phenomenal card this week. Card 297. Han Solo in Carbonite. And as Cardboard Stats alluded to, that very well could have waited till next week and been card 300. It is a good-looking card. So that's Han Solo from Star Wars Empire Strikes Back. And then card 298, Coruscant, Star Wars The Force Awakens. And those will be available through next Tuesday. And then Topps Throwback Thursday dropped last week. This is set 13, the first iteration of 4 for the 1955 Topps Baseball. So you got to have the horizontal stuff for the next 4 weeks. Vidal Brujan, I believe is how you pronounce it, from the Tampa Bay Rays, card 37. And then 38 is Mike Trout, short print variation, and card 39, Randy Johnson with the Seattle Mariners, the correct team. So grab those, and I'm glad to see that they're back to doing, rookie, veteran, and retiree. I think that's a good blend for that set since it's very top heavy and repetitive. And there's the Carbonite. If you're watching, if you haven't seen that card yet, it's a really good looking card.
It's really sharp.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Stops right at his hands and the bottom and right edge and goes just above his head in the top left corner.
Yeah, so next week, I can't believe they're already up to card 300. So the thing's been going on, 3 years now? And be interesting to see who they have reserved for card 300 because like Matt said, the Han Solo Carbonite is an iconic picture from Star Wars. Very well could have been the 300. So.
It's going to be like a Jawa or some scrub character from one of the animated series.
Hey.
Or it could be like a Darth Vader. I mean, just...
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what they end up doing with that. So major releases coming out this week. The aforementioned 2022 Panini Prism WWE, the first WWE drop by Panini. It came out today. It looks like it's around $950 a box. Blowout was sold out already. I think Steel City was as well, but I was able to get a price point. I could be wrong on that, but it seems like that was right around whatever it's out. Right around $1,000 a box. You're going to get 12 packs, 12 cards in each pack. You'll get 1 auto and 22 Prism parallels. So there have been a lot of people, from what I understand, flooding timelines on Twitter today, showing different releases.
But all I've seen, I did see 2 really cool. There's a Color Blast John Cena that I believe is a stupid short friend where he's actually not on the card because his thing was that you can't see him.
Amazing.
Color Blast.
And then a really, really well done Undertaker where it's just the black silhouette of him.
Yes, that was a good looking card.
So how many Color Blasts are there? What's the print run on those?
I can look it up.
Because the John Cena right now, there's one at auction selling for just over $10,000 with 2 days left. So I'm assuming, I assume they weren't one of ones, but I figured they had to be, print run or serial numbered out of 10, somewhere in there.
I would imagine the print run's got to be around that. If
maybe 25.
Yeah, I'd say maybe 25, but they're stupid hard pulls. From what I've heard,
they're kind of in the downtown or whatnot realm, but even rarer.
Yeah.
Let's see. Color Blast looks like there are 10.
Okay,
that makes sense just based on the overall cost of it. If you're spending $10,000, and I get that it's Prism, I get that it's the first Prism release of this WWE, and I get that it might very well be the last if the Fanatics Topps announcement along with WWE last week ends up forcing Panini out of this contract early. Very well may be a one and done for Prism. At the very
looks like it's 2 autos per.
Okay. I pulled the from Blowout, so again, you go figure, cell sheets can always be inaccurate. But
thanks, Tom.
At the very least, this Panini Prism has no more than a overall print. Yeah, there's only gonna be 3 years max. That's it. Assuming that Prism doesn't end up becoming part of Topps Fanatics at some point, which I'm assuming it doesn't. But also coming out is the Upper Deck version of Allen and Ginter. They're Goodwin Champions, which is always a fun product. Has a lot of good stuff in it. It released today as well. It was slated to release at around $225 a box. That price point came from Dave and Adams. 20 packs, 5 cards per pack. You'll get at least 2 hits per box. possibly more. And that's literally what the sell sheet said. I did not do a complete breakdown because much like Allen and Ginter, there's a ton of stuff on the Goodwin Champion checklist. It's not licensed, it has a nice blend of all kinds of fun stuff and different autographs. So, go check out that sell sheet if, an eclectic release like Goodwin Champions is for you. And if Upper Deck is out there listening, remember for 2023 Goodwin, Tim, Steph, and I are available, and we would be more than happy to be a part of this as podcasters. So,
I mean, that's a cool piece. Legendary ship, the USS Constitution, interior wood relic. That's just cool.
And that Eagle card's badass.
Well, and those are, if they're like any previous year, those are patch cards. So they'll have a patch effect when you take them.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, Goodwin's a solid set. I like the base set in years past. It's not a very large base set if I don't remember, or if I do remember. It's only like usually 150 cards or something like that.
Sounds about right. Yep.
It might differ from year to year. I might be a little off, but it's more of a truncated base set, and it's all over the place with different sports represented and celebrities and
a relic from a casino. One of the little $1 chips.
Yeah, fun set. So that just dropped today. Also releasing this week, Topps came back with Turn Back the Clock, a daily release that features whatever happened in today's baseball world of yesteryear, a highlight from years past. We are on card number 7 as of the release of this podcast, which is coming out on April 6th. So it's still very early in the set. Obviously, it's going to mirror the entire year of baseball and runs about 6 months. I think Ken Griffey Jr. dropped today. So 2021 Panini Stars and Stripes Baseball is supposed to come out on April 8th, along with 2021 Topps Star Wars Masterwork. So all scheduled release dates are subject to change, but we're current as of this afternoon when I pulled them, actually. So MSRP pricing and product details were gathered from all over the place today because most of the stuff was already sold out. What's brewing next week? April 13th, we're going to see 21-22 Panini Contenders Basketball, 2021 Panini Encased Football, and on Friday, April 15th, we'll see 2022 Panini Donruss Racing if the calendar holds. All right, infield chatter. This one is going to be kind of an interesting topic. It's with a very heavy heart. Steph and I are announcing that episode 200 will be the final About the Cards episode. It's been a great run of nearly 4 years, but it's time for us to move on to other projects, both personal and within the hobby. We aren't closing the door on About the Cards per se, but we feel it's time to end the show for now. Perhaps someday we can reunite with Shep and get the band back together, but for now, we feel it's in everyone's best interest just to kind of take a break, end the show at a nice round number. Steph and I have been doing this for 4 years, Shep the better part of 4 years, and it's been nothing but awesome. But at the same time, hobby fatigue is really setting in for both Steph and I.
Sorry about that. My internet decided to drop right then and there. Not entirely sure what all Ben has alluded to, but I obviously want to state jokingly that this is all Ben's fault and I hate him and I'm blocking him, at least after I get my trade back. No, it's nothing like that, guys. A lot of personal growing to do. I need to get some of my affairs in order, get in shape. Still reeling a bit with the loss of mom, obviously. And who knows? Maybe we'll come back in a year.
Yeah, we left the door. I mean, obviously, I've tweeted out enough stuff on my Twitter timeline about some personal issues within my marriage. Steph and Angela work at ComC. They live, breathe, eat trading cards. Cannot be easy to come home to a hobby when it's your day job. It's the old adage of the landscaper's yard at home always looks like garbage. The accountant, their personal finances are a disaster. So on, the housekeeper's house is a mess. You do it all day and you don't want to come home and do it too. And for the last 4 years, it's been very challenging from Tuesday to Thursday because it seems like from Tuesday to Thursday is just a blur. And although this has been absolutely a blessing and we can't thank everybody enough that's supported us personally, beyond just the show, that we've met through the show.
All the guests, near 200 episodes.
Yeah. And, Alex is here with us tonight. I mean, he's a friend of ours because of the show. And that's awesome. And he's part of our lives now. Hopefully until I'll probably be the first of the three of us to go, just because I'm old. You guys are young and spry.
I'd rather because you'll block him.
April 28th, everybody's just going to block me and go, hey, yeah. But I mean, I don't want to discount the fact that the direction of the hobby is changing too, into a lot of digital stuff and high end and expensive, and it's getting harder and harder to enjoy just the basics of collecting base cards. And we talked about it pre-show, 2013, 2014, I'd call up Brent Williams at the flagship releases and go, I need base, rainbow, gold, and gold foil and gold numbered. And he'd be like, cool, all the inserts, and your price is $30. Then it jumped to 60, then 100. And then the next year he's like, I can't get you all of the sets. I can get you half the gold and half the gold foil and some of the rainbow foil. I'm just like, now the guy can't even get any product and was forced to go get a regular job that wasn't, hobby related. And it's like, it's the whole Tops and Fanatics thing. It's wearing on both. And I don't want to speak for Steph, but we've had private conversations where it's like, it's just wearing on us. And
I'm both equally cautious with the industry, but also as well, you don't have to like every change. That's not to say that I don't like where the industry is, and I don't like where the changes are coming to the industry. However, I haven't even sorted out any of my 2011 stuff. I have boxes that I've opened that just have the cards on the inside of the box completely unput away. That's hopefully will find some attention, long overdue attention, in this break period. And like I said, maybe either one of the three of us come back together, start a new show, or you see me in the morning for 10 minutes for a junk segment. Who knows?
What channel are you going to put this junk on?
My own. If I were to do that.
Is it going to be on like YouTube, or is it going to be on more?
Well, I have more details to come.
I was talking more oriented. There was that's what she said joke in there somewhere. The way we talked about it, because Steph, Tim, and I had a conversation last week, and we wanted to delay this announcement until after April Fool's, as to not confuse anybody and think that we were having fun. It's kind of like a band taking some time off, and perhaps we will all do something different, release solo albums, so to speak, something that's
Yoko's fault.
I'm Yoko, obviously, right? Come on. You guys are Lennon and McCartney. But I think that's kind of where we're at. I mean, Rich Frank asked in the YouTube chat, can we get a once a month show? Something we talked about is, Tim is like, if we want to bring it back, the brand back, all three of us have to be in. And I think we're all open to that. I can't speak for Tim and Steph. But I think once a month we're open to. My dad's like, what about every other week? I think there's certain things on the table, but for right now, with Tim focusing on the card shop he's got going, and with Steph's got some personal stuff, I have some personal stuff, I think it was the right time. I mean, when Shep left, I took over some of the responsibilities and writing show notes, and I was doing it like right away on Thursday morning, and over the last couple of weeks started creeping into Tuesdays and Wednesdays more. And it's just like, we've got so much going on personally that we felt episode 200 was a good time to maybe just pause.
Everyone likes nice round numbers, and I'm not here to speak for Tim while he's gone, but it's very much a Led Zeppelin effect, where one of us is no longer able to play currently, obviously with the death of their drummer. In our case, with Shep currently 100% committed to the shop running. This is just wouldn't be right to run it with just one of us.
Yeah. But again, that doesn't mean that, we totally left open the idea, like when Topps and Fanatics announced their merge, their buyout, where we all hopped on that night, right? If something happened to that effect 2 months from now, the three of us are going to hop on a Wednesday night and we're going to talk about it. We're not going to not be around in that sense. But again, it's going to have to be all three of us. And if it ever came back permanently, we all have the blessing of one another that, hey, if you want to go work on another project. But I just think right now it's for the best of us. I mean, I even thought, what if I just did something on my own or grabbed a couple of other guys and did some new, something short, 30 minutes a week, with different people and maybe like 5 different quick hit topics. And I'm just like, just the thought of that was overwhelming. And it was like, maybe for another day. So maybe take some time off and just kind of take a vacation from not having the responsibility of every Wednesday. So,
well, and it's not like we're going to completely go off the reservation, pull a Walden Pond, and just go live out in nature. I mean, the Jeep's certainly geared towards doing that, but we'll still be around. I mean, we may be a little bit less active initially, just to give a nice, clean break to catch our minds right and figure out our new not schedules, but our routines. But again, I mean, if the three of us are in, I'm down for episode 201, 202.
With what we all have right now, I just think it's a good time to take a break, whether it's for a week, a month, 6 months, a year, and just kind of reset. And Steph, like he alluded to, his mom passed away, and that was unfortunate and way too young. And he and Angela have so much going on inside and outside the hobby right now. Myself, I've trying to get a side business going on eBay and trying to repair some family issues. And Shep's focusing on his family and the card shop, and he's already stepped away. That it's just time to maybe, hobby fatigue is serious. When we joke about it on Twitter, it's not to be taken lightly. It's a hobby. This is supposed to be fun. And when it doesn't become fun anymore,
why are you doing it?
Why are you?
No, and that's not to say that we're not having fun. I completely love every single episode. Most guests.
I mean, we have to come on for episode 201 at some point because that's where Alex's mom is coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah, duh.
You haven't even met her and you already love her.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
but
remains to be seen.
Seriously, our phones are always on for all of the friends that we've made. We're always going to be available on Twitter, whether the show ever does come back or not, whether we end up doing any side projects or not. It's just maybe the time right now. And Steph's like, I got so much going on, guys. Episode 200's coming up, which leads us, before we move on to the rest of the hobby talk, episode 199 is probably going to be the actual last episode of the show, in the sense that the same format.
Same format, right?
Tim Shepler, Big Shep 79, he had already kind of said, hey, I want to hop on for episode 200 before we all decided that maybe 200 should be it.
Which is why we were saying that we had big announcements for episode 200. You guys see where we're going with that.
Yeah, he was our big announcement before we decided to kind of pull the plug indefinitely on the show for at least a finite period of time. But I think what we're going to do with episode 200 is make it about our listeners and past memories, and invite some people on that have been on the show before, and kind of do the way I describe it is more like Jim Rome's Smack Off, where he invites a lot of people on, and we'll have a couple of people just kind of hop in, hopefully throughout the evening, and we'll run 8 to 10, do a 2-hour show, and just kind of, no mail days, no new releases, no hobby talk, unless something major happens that week. We might want to touch on that, but just kind of have a goodbye show, But again, it's not goodbye. It's see you later.
Goodbye, farewell, amen.
I was always told never to say goodbye. Always say, see you next time. See you later. It's good morning, good afternoon, and good night. It's we'll see you tomorrow, just in a different capacity. And so Alex will get an invite and hop on if he's available. He is on the East Coast, so.
Hey, have we discussed that? Is he getting it?
Oh, do we want to talk about it right now? Alex, earmuffs, bud. Earmuffs. We want to talk about you while you're right here. So that guy. So yeah, we appreciate it. And this isn't supposed to be, woe is us. We're humans and we're going through some stuff, and it's just time for us to say, let us take a break for a little while, and hopefully we can come back someday bigger and stronger than ever, and the full band will be back together, because I think we were at our best when Shep was on with us. To no offense to everybody that sat in. Every episode's been phenomenal.
Well, some offense to Andrew.
Oh, Selsky. All the offense to Selsky. That guy. But
he never actually came on and owned you like he was swearing up and down he was going to. Although he did wear the king hat to try to indicate that he was.
He looked like a little kid wearing that, like a baby. My 4-year-old wore one of those. In fact, my 4-year-old told me, "Dad, I'm too old for this now." I'm like, "All right, kid. Well, is that your Uncle Zelsky wore one? Can you at least do it in solidarity?" But we always consider all of our not our listeners, our friends. All of you guys are our friends. Even Zelsky. So whatever. There's some Z's and Q's in there somewhere. So anyway, we appreciate everybody who has listened, who will continue to listen up until episode 200, the final curtain call. And hopefully, if we ever are able to all come back together and do the show again someday, whether it's a one-time thing, every so often thing, or an every Wednesday thing again, hopefully everybody comes back and it's like no time had ever left. So anyway, let's get on to the show. Alex, welcome to stay with us for the rest of.
Oh, I'm here.
Okay, good deal.
I'm here.
So, Nat Turner, PSA CEO, wants to get back to the $12 submittal price point. There was a tweet where he had responded to a thread where somebody had commented that their current economy, using air quotes, level sits at $50 per individual sub, and people are like, $50 is not economy, but okay. And that's when Nat responded saying, hey, we're trying to get back to the $12 price point. So I'm going to ask you guys, will they ever get back to that price point or close to it? I mean, 15, 18, even $20 is fair. I mean, $30. If so, how soon? I mean, do we see this happening?
I could see a cut down to 20, 25.
Yeah.
I would contemplate submitting cards at that level. Not to say that I'm cheap or anything, but given the turnaround times, $50 is pretty steep. And I know that's to discourage a lot of people from submitting 800 cards for every single rookie from a case. But I would like to, and as he said, we do want to get back to $12 now. I think that's a little ambitious given where they're at currently, but
yeah,
should be interesting.
Okay, Steph. So how long would it? Let's say they definitely get back. You do see a $12 get into your time machine that we've given you a hard time about. When is it? Is it this year?
Within the next 2 to 5.
You think so? Okay. I mean, adjusting for inflation, I mean, isn't, if they got to, say, a $25 price point, they cut the $50 economy one in half.
That's reasonable. I mean, cost of a blaster.
I mean, if you're going to grade it with the majority of people, not 100%, but the majority of people are grading cards with the intent to have it add to the appreciation value on the back end to sell it. Okay, some people do slab it for personal. That's fine. So let's just focus on that group of individuals that fall in that umbrella. Let's say it's 75% of people that grade do so to speculate that they're going to make money on the graded version of this raw card. We factor the $25 in. Don't send something off that is a $10 card and graded you're going to get 15. That doesn't make sense. We see a lot of that. Just factor it in. It's hard to factor in at the $50 price point because in order for you to make it worth your time, I say all the time when I'm doing retail arbitrage, I can't double my money on so many items because it's just not worth it. On certain items, you do need a 8 to 10x. You're buying an item for $1. I can't sell it for $2 with fees and shipping and time. That doesn't make sense. But I can buy a $1 item at a Goodwill or a flea market, sell it for 10, because once I eliminate the associated fees, selling on eBay, shipping, and I net $7. Okay, you take $1 and you can net $7. If you do that enough in volume, it makes sense, right? So you're grading something at a cost of $50. You're going to have a significant bump on the secondary market,
or have something worth a significant bump over that. $200 card, is that worth it?
I mean, now if it's a $200 raw, now you're at $250. You're going to have to sit on it for how long to get that card back from PSA? I know their turnaround times have gotten better, but let's assume you have to wait just a month. That card now has to be worth at least $250. A lot of it depends on your acquisition cost. Are you getting it out of a blaster where it's only a $20 upfront cost? Again, keep in mind, you make your money when you buy something, not when you sell it. You always make it on the buy, never the sell. If you buy it at the right price, therefore, if you're buying it out of a single pack, Alex gets lucky because if he looks at a pack, he's pulling something out of 50, number. Like, hey, hashtag about the cards mail day. And he's just like, oh, I got something out of 50 this week.
It's an Acuna auto.
We're like, dude, you had one last week. He goes, yeah, I got another one.
What was it this week? The Wanderer Chrome out of a Heritage Fat Pack. Like, spent $6, and this sounds like 175.
Yeah. We just rewrite back to Alex whenever he sends us something. Same bat channel, same bat time? ? Going over to Meyer. Like, rub the fact in I don't have a Meyer anywhere near me.
Well, I don't either. I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. We have Target, Walmart, and dumb flippers. Oh, and there's that too.
That's awesome. I was in a Target earlier today, and all they had was Upper Deck Series 1 blasters. They only had like 3 or 4 hockey blasters.
So you bought like 5 of them, right?
I did not, and I'll tell you why. It has nothing to do. I don't collect hockey, and I don't think that it would be. Not that $20 isn't a fair price, and Upper Deck makes a beautiful product. We've talked to them about it personally, but why would I bring something home that's I'm going to have fun opening? If I got a cool young gun, awesome, and I'd probably just stick it in Stefan's box to send him in 4 years when I finally get around to slapping some mail on it, some postage on it. But why not? I hate leaving it for the kids, but why not leave it for an actual hockey collector who might appreciate it more than I will, is really what it came down to. Besides, I had a $25 gift card and I needed work socks. So I was being responsible too, Alex. It's like you buying paint. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I bought socks for work. Dumb work. Could have bought cards.
I shouldn't show this episode to my wife because she'll be like, okay, you're responsible. Done buying cards. We're going to do all the house things. And
now episode 202 is going to be Alex's wife. Don't even care what her name is because it's just Alex's wife.
Yeah. No, it's a combo episode. Alex's wife and Alex's mom. Same episode. And
yeah,
I'm nowhere to be found.
Wife, Alex's mom, and Angela.
And then we'll have you on it, and you'll have to sit there and take it. You'll have to. And that's the way it's going to be.
That's perfect. It's amazing.
Bobby Shane episode.
So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I got work socks today, like a big, mature, responsible person. Stupid dumb. So speaking because if we put up the 85 versus 87 to a listener vote, that's gonna be 100% 85 just because I've pissed enough people off. People will unblock me to come in and vote for it just to spite my ass, and I deserve it, I'm sure. And just so we know, this is the 85 that I had first. This is the one that sits on my desk. This was the one I had as a kid. That was the first one that my dad spent a lot of money on. This one will never go in any binder because I don't want it to get confused. This was the 8-year-old Benjamin's 85 tops. That was a big deal. So
that can definitely be arranged. One's right over my shoulder.
Yeah, your cats have to be on. They've been a big part. And Angela needs to come on. And so speaking of Nat Turner, in his hand of the hobby, a guy on Facebook apparently sold a card through Golden Auctions, which is part of the Nat Turner family. According to his post, and this is his words, not ours, so we're not taking sides, we're just presenting what he said. He dealt with one guy from Golden during the auction process. He was never notified that the card actually sold, what it sold for, when it was paid, and he has no idea when he's getting paid out. So basically, he had to do all of the tracking on his end by himself, was not notified of anything along the way. Have you heard of any other Golden-related issues with this business model, or is this perhaps something isolated?
I haven't heard too much about anything like that pop up. Like normally somebody would tag card purchaser and something like that, and it would get retweeted, and then we'd all know about it, right? Like I haven't heard too many things about their business model. It sounds like a one-off, but I don't want to put, words in somebody else's mouth or something like that.
Well, no, exactly. I mean, as he states, he knows it wasn't a triple logo man or anything like that. However, you would think that he would have a representative or somebody that he could contact email-wise to even find out, hey, it sold, here was the final bids, or here were the bids. Here's how the payment process will work, explaining the services. And maybe he did, maybe it hit spam filter. Who knows? We don't know. But you think it would be a little bit better than as it is presented.
Well, we've all sold on eBay, right? And we know when the item gets paid for, right? I hate managed payments. I've been very vocal about it, but I can go onto their medium right now, their platform, and I can look at it and go, okay, I sold the item today, being a Wednesday. It's going to process and hit my bank account or hit my eBay account tomorrow, officially available funds tomorrow. And the payout's going to be sent to my bank if I have it set up for daily on Friday. Okay. And then whether or not it actually goes into my bank account on Friday or not is between eBay and my bank account. But the bottom line is, even if I have to wait, I've got space at an antique store here. My dad does, right? Something sells on the 1st of the month. You're not getting that money until the 7th of the following month. Sells on April 1st. You're going to get your check right around May 7th. Period. End of discussion. She does payouts once per month. It's the way it is. But you know what? You're going to know that you'll have that money on May 7th or thereabouts. So the whole thing is doesn't really matter when he's getting paid out. His concern and his complaint on that Facebook post was he didn't know he didn't know that it sold and didn't know how much it sold for, didn't know that the guy actually paid for it, and didn't know when he was getting his money. So it's like, cool, item sold for this amount. So, okay, cool. It's not mine anymore. The item's been paid for. Cool. When am I getting my money? I have to wait until next Tuesday? Fine. Less, $100 sale, less your 30% commission to the house. I'll get my $70 next Tuesday. No, we're going to send it to you as of Tuesday. Therefore, you might get it Wednesday or Thursday or 3 to 5 business days thereafter. Fine. It's just about communication. And again, we don't know if this is how it happens. So if you've had any experience specifically with Golden Auctions, which is a very large name in the hobby, please let us know. Just curious if this is an outlier or this guy's blowing smoke on Facebook, because it's not like everything on Facebook is the truth. Most of it is. But this one might not be. This might be the first lie detected on Facebook. So anyway, we're not here to trash.
You think someone will just do that? Go on the internet and lie?
I don't know. I try to Google it, whether or not the internet lies, and I got all kinds of different answers. So I don't know.
The internet can't lie. I found out the internet tells the truth. Wikipedia told me.
Yeah, duh, right? My 4-year-old the other day was talking to Google Home, and he's like, "Hey Google, blah 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 blah." And Google's like, "I can't help you with that." He walks away. He goes, "Why do we even have this machine in the house?" Dude, you talked to it for 3 minutes. That's not how it works. But he didn't care. He thought it's like a friend, right? I talk to it. It talks back to me. If it only was that's so simple. So, hey, Zelsky should get on Google Home and talk to it about whether or not he can learn economics. And then we can have a new episode where he apparently teaches me something. So, I hope he's listening. Have him listen. So yeah, let us know if you've had any issues or heard of anything related to Golden where the communication is not as fluid as it should be. So perhaps an end of an era. Topps has taken over the European Championship sticker license from Panini. Panini has produced sticker albums for every FIFA World Cup since 1970 and Euros since 1977, according to the report. With the 2020 men's tournament, its final edition. Terms, of course, were not disclosed. Topps will now produce items such as album stickers for the 2024 and 2028 men's Euros, the 2025 women's Euros, and Nations League finals through 2028. So this was actually an ESPN article that reported this, and then we saw it through the Twitter. So
the Twitter.
The Twitter.
What do you guys take on that, Alex? Is it Twitter or the Twitter?
Oh, I've heard it both ways. I usually just say Twitter, but I mean, Chris Jericho says the Twitter, so it goes both. I like both.
Question for you, because Steph and I always go back on the GIF and GIF argument. The other day I said might eyes to a
warning. There are repercussions and correct answers.
No, I was just saying, just in general, because I said might eyes for the old music platform, that really 8-bit version of music back like in the MySpace days.
I think NES music.
Yeah, and my coworker said, "You mean MIDIs?" And I'm like, "MIDIs?" I'm like, maybe I'm wrong, and I'm okay being wrong, but
that was right at 125.56. If anyone wants to clip Ben saying that you might be wrong,
I figured if the show's ending, maybe I should give you guys one soundbite to keep.
I've heard MIDIs. I say GIF, but I've also said GIF before. But then I'm like, G says J, but it's not a peanut butter.
It doesn't sound right if you don't say it GIF.
Yeah, because it stands for graphic, right? Or is that what the G stands for? I should know this.
Graphic interface format.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So I'm like, oh, graphic. Yeah. I don't know. I say how you want. Tomato.
I'd never heard MIDIs ever until he said.
I've never heard them say it out loud. I've always heard, but I've always read it in my head as MIDI files.
Is it really? I was just curious because the whole meme.
You can stay.
Meme?
Yeah, like when memes first started becoming a thing, there were a lot of people that are like memes.
Oh yeah.
And then everybody's like, it's meme. Okay, then everybody just kind of ran with that.
Or maymays.
Yeah, but I'd never heard MIDIs before he said that the other day, and I was like, I always thought they were might eyes. I thought it was the long I. But he's also more IT than I am, so I thought, well, he's probably smarter.
Yeah.
When it comes to that than I am, so perhaps I'm wrong. But hey. So yeah, unfortunately, end of an era. In fact, one of the first things that got me into really collecting like super hardcore in 1988 was the Panini baseball album, the Panini stickers, which had Don Mattingly on the front. I think I still need like 12. I need to hit up the old sport lots and finally collect that. But
you mean it's not the sport lots?
It probably is like the sport lots or something because it's so antiquated. I think even if we never come back and do another show, Steph, if Sportlots ever gets like a new user interface, even if it's like 18 years from now, we should do one show just to talk about it.
You have to.
I have to. It's not going to happen, so it's not like you're, like Kevin on the Office when he's like, if John Mellencamp ever wins an Oscar, got 10,000 to 1 odds. He's like, somebody gives you 10,000 to 1 odds. If Mellencamp ever wins an Oscar, I'm going to be a very rich man. It's like,
if you talk about The Office one more time, I'm going to probably have to slap you like you just offended my wife.
I'll just call your wife and we'll offend you, she and I together, because we have a lot of fun doing that in front of your back.
I don't know that you have her number.
I do, unless she's changed it. Let's call her. We're going to call her live on air and see. Will she answer?
Probably.
Let's see what she does.
This will be good.
Yeah.
Format? Who needs format?
This is really bad radio for those listening on Spotify or Apple. I'm putting on speakerphone so she doesn't
Hey,
answer.
Ben, it's MIDI files.
She says it's MIDI. I'm okay to be corrected. So yeah, Steph, I have her number. In fact, we're talking right now. What's up, Ange?
Hey.
Okay, I'm hanging up now because we are live on YouTube, on the YouTube at 8 p.m. Pacific. Okay, so she says it's middies. I can stand corrected on that. It's one of those ones where you first read it, and I think talking to him about it the other day, 20 years after they went, non-existent, it was like the first time I probably ever verbalized the word outside of my head.
That's fair. But I mean, as someone who doesn't mess with audio files or recordings or has a huge audio collection, it's understandable that you would not know that it's MIDI.
Well, yeah, it's something I had for 2 months years ago, and I was like, oh, these are really cool. I still have some on my computer right now. I was like, I forgot all about these Might-Eyes. And then 20 years from now, I'll probably find them again and go, I don't think they're pronounced Might-Eyes. I think Angela said so on some random episode of About the Cards. So is Logan Paul the biggest hobby-related douche?
Yes.
Some might consider this a major flex, but for most of us, it's just another opportunity to roll your eyes. If you haven't seen it or weren't watching the WrestleMania, Paul wore his $5 million Pokemon card attached to a gold chain around his neck. Seriously?
So it's not that he's wearing the Pokemon card around his neck. It's the outfit that he's wearing that makes him one. Like, he looks like Sub-Zero, like in an alternate costume for Mortal Kombat. Sorry, not Sub-Zero, but Scorpion.
He looks like if Walmart's Great Value was going to do a Transformer Bumblebee movie.
Yeah,
get over here.
I watched WrestleMania live, and I saw him walk out with it, and I'm leaving my buddy. I'm like, this guy is. He just brought Pokemon cards further down into the scalper zone because they're all going to think, oh, I could do that. It was just what a mess.
Jeremy in the YouTube chat says he wishes the ComC would buy the Sport Lots. Brilliant.
Why would we?
Yeah. Well, because you own more market share. It would actually be a very smart thing to do. That's what businesses do. You buy a direct competition and then you make bigger. Yeah. It wouldn't be surprising, though, if Fanatics didn't try to buy up something like Sport Lots, revolutionize it, and only because, although it's a lesser-known name, can't tell you how many times I like, especially on Facebook, I'll post something, people are, like, trying to sell, like, a $7 card, and it's like, well, that's an 18-cent card on Sport Lots. What's Sport Lots? Get it all the time, and I think because Sport Lots is so antiquated, it just doesn't have the name recognition, because it's been around forever. And I think yeah, and I think part of it isn't just the HTML code that still writes its website, but I think part of it is also the fact that people do sell lower end cards, and in today's hobby, what you would go to Sport Lots for isn't really desired by a lot of the newer collectors. So a lot of the newbies, right, the people that have been around for 2-3 years, just aren't interested in that kind of stuff. It's not, they're not set collectors and team collectors as much as they're, hit driven. And that's not what Sport Lots is about. So
what's more scripted, this or his boxing matches?
Hey.
So a couple of things real quick. VPE Cards alleges on eBay, and eBay, is selling stolen cards. Steph, if you have the thread handy, I was writing the show notes a little late today. So I do apologize. I didn't break down what his thread is, but basically if you want to just skim over it and read some of the highlights. And again, this is what VPE Cards alleges. So take it for face value.
Well,
we're not citing.
They do come with receipts. So they tagged a bunch of people and said $70 for, it looks like a pink or purple Tom Brady Prism, as well as a Adam Thielen triple color number /49 auto patch relic from Panini One, posted October 22nd, 2021. Said $70. Guy goes, yeah, sorry, hey, do you ship it out with tracking? Just leaving work now. Tracking in 10 minutes for you, bro. Almost 18 minutes later, he actually gives the tracking number. Word, thanks. And then it looks like they do their conversation later. Said, hey, yep, that's me. Jesus, never saw that before. The guy provides a picture of an envelope. It looks like it's been ripped open along the sides. Me either. First and only time it happened to me, probably the shady postman. Last time I buy a card online. Right? Well, then the exact same card serial number is being sold on eBay for way more than the price. Provides a link as well. Sliced open, and the card, all contents inside the envelope were stolen. Pictures attached in the thread that I just showed. Today, we noticed that this exact card is listed on eBay for $340 by now. We sold the card in October for $60, so even gave a discount off the $75 list price. Here's a link to the card on eBay. At first, we thought maybe the eBay seller purchased the card from the thief. Possible. Check out this conversation with the seller. This conversation will all occur today. Combo attached on eBay is between seller and username here. Hey, where did you get this card? We purchased through many sources. How can I help you? Thanks for the price. Specifically, do you remember where this card came from? This is this exact 28 of 49 serial numbered 2018 Panini 1 Adam Thiel and Patch Auto. Yes, what do you ask? Give me the story. I know it already, but please tell me. Include details, tracking, etc. Really? You know it already. Why didn't it skip to the next picture? There we go. What do you mean that you know the story already? You know this card is stolen. The guy replies back. When did it get mailed and what was the tracking number? You know what I'm asking you, and I do not want to give it. Then you need to contact USPS. Guy responds back, look, I don't know who you are or what you're asking without being straightforward, or what you're asking without being straightforward with me, because the assumption I'm getting is that you understand this card was stolen. It's been over a year since I bought it. Haven't seen it for sale until now. I don't have any of that information, plus the tracking said delivered, but my package was sliced open. If you know this card was stolen and you're selling it with ill intentions, I do not believe that is just. And that's fair, right? You bought it. This card was not stolen. The packet, your package arrived, according to you, cut open. That jives with where I bought it, USPS. You can buy cards from USPS? You bought it, and it never got delivered. I hope you were refunded. You should have been. If you have any more questions, USPS has asked me to have you contact them directly. So the guy responds naturally with what I just did. You bought it from USPS. How do you buy a card from the Postal Service? And you are now saying USPS has asked you to tell me to reach out to them? It seems you are in touch with USPS already. It's just odd that I bought a card, blah, 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 card details here, and my package arrived, but was sliced open, not cut, with no card. Now you're telling me you already know this story while selling the card on eBay, but you're telling me it's not stolen? And somebody did point out a good point that the person's username, SLC Treasures, likely stands for stolen, lost, and what the C is. Claimed treasures or collectibles. Not a good look.
No,
I didn't know you could buy lost or undelivered purchases from the USPS.
Yeah, you can buy luggage from the airlines and stuff like that goes unclaimed after a certain period of time. They auction that off as well. It's no different than a storage locker. I mean, what do they do with this stuff that they can't deliver? At some point, you got to get rid of it, and it's not worthless stuff. I mean, some of it perhaps is, right? I mean, a love letter that was lost and written, meant something from the person writing it to the person that was being written to. But, for instance, these trading cards do have a monetary value. How many times do you try to deliver it both ways? But when it's sliced open, this isn't somebody wrote down an address incorrectly with no return address. So we literally can't figure out who it came from and where it's going to. I mean, somebody intentionally sliced this open, and now miraculously this card has surfaced.
I mean, but if you think about it from USPS's point, all they know is that a package got slid open, and also we have this card. They don't know any of this extraneous details. They have people claiming that that's the case. However, they can't verifiably say that yes, and we should send it to this person, as was intended. That would be a bad look on their case.
Well, yeah, and let's hypothetically, again,
devil's advocate for the USPS. Now, the rest of the story, it's kind of shitty.
Yeah, let's say that it got sliced open somewhere in transit, legitimately.
Got stuck in a machine.
Yeah, got stuck in a machine, got sliced open somehow, and that package got separated from the item being a trading card. And you can't put that trading card in that package any longer. And now it goes into a pile. And a couple of months later, it goes to auction, and SLC ends up buying it at auction legitimately. And of course, they're going to put it up on eBay or another website to try to get their money back. And somebody has had this on their radar, and it surfaces. It could be legitimate. Odds are it's not. But again, just err on the side of caution if you want to continue to choose to do business. If you're familiar with this SLC collectibles or whatever the heck they call themselves, by all means, we're just here to report something that was, out there. Proceed with caution. And again, it's just a firsthand account with some decent proof. Like Steph said, they had receipts, so to speak. But a couple of quick things that we want to hit on real quick. 3-Star Sports Cards is asking for your help. This came via CT Sports Traders on Twitter. 3-Star Sports Cards is locating in Bloomington, Indiana. They had a 2000.
Minnesota.
Oh, is it Minnesota?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So funny story, slight aside. When we were getting married in Minnesota, Plymouth, one of my best man's outfits got sent to Bloomington, Indiana, instead of Bloomington, Minnesota.
Gotcha. Okay. I apologize. It just said Bloomington, I believe. So I just assumed it was Indiana. My mistake. So if it's the one in Minnesota, they had a 2022 Topps Heritage Wonder Franco red refractor at a 573 stolen from their LCS on April 2nd. They do have video evidence of the alleged thief's face. So it's posted, looks like Colin Farrell in one of the.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Or that's not just me seeing that?
Oh, no. I see Colin Farrell. I see Vince Russo from the old WCW days. But I see both of those.
I did look up to see what this card cost. As of April 5th, it looks like this particular Franco Parallel was selling for anywhere from right around $450 to $500. So it's not an inexpensive card, but by no means is it a super expensive card. I get people aren't always ethical, but would you sell your integrity for a $500 card? I mean, if you were going to steal something, people
I would hope not.
Still a pack of gum, so I guess. But if you're familiar,
3_stars on Twitter. There's a couple other handles. If you reach out to the show, we can hand you that information. I've been in this store. I've bought stuff from the store. Kraken Wax has bought stuff from the store. It's well known in the area.
Yeah, if you're familiar with this guy, I think somebody had tweeted out that this person, they think that they've seen this person at card shows. So the great picture of him because he looks right at the camera. So if this is the person, and About the Cards is not saying it is, it's what is being reported as the alleged thief. If you have any information on this guy, please contact 3-Star Sports Cards and let them know how they might be able to get in touch with this person to find out if, or at least put the authorities on the right path. So it does look like Vince Russo. Not to make light of this, if this guy is in fact a thief, that's not a laughing matter. But
No.
Elsewhere, Mamba cards were robbed on April 4th, 2022. They're located, I believe, in Encino, California, not Minnesota. Encino, California. And obviously,
isn't that the one with the guy from that other George of the Jungle reboot?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Nobody? Encino Man?
Encino Man? Okay. Yeah. I missed Pauly Shore. He came to town last month and I didn't see him.
You're like the only person that wanted to see Pauly Shore in 2022.
I made a comment I made a comment about that sarcastically, like, oh my God, he's coming to town, and everybody just blew up on me. So I kind of had to play, that role of, I guess I want to see him.
It's kind of like,
What's his name? Gutenberg from the Police Academy is like, I really want to see you for like 3 movies and then never again.
That's funny. I just watched a WTF Happened to Steve Gutenberg on Joe Blow videos on YouTube the other day.
Yes.
To me, Pauly Shore is kind of like Chris Tucker, where their shtick was like really funny for like 2 movies. And then when you watch the 3rd movie, you're like, oh, we're just doing this every movie now, are we? Okay. It's like, I don't know that Pauly Shore was ever funny, but he was definitely unique for like 2 movies. In the Army Now wasn't too bad of a movie, but anyway, so yeah, Mamba Cards, located in Encino, was robbed. There were pictures shared on Facebook. 2 men broke through the front door and stole approximately $100,000 in sealed wax. According to one Facebook post, there was no alarm on the door or anything else to alert the authorities. So if that's the case and you have that kind of product, whole slew of stuff too. There was a whole breakdown. Mamba Cards had posted on Facebook of everything that got stolen. Unfortunately, if that stuff gets opened and put on the secondary market, there's no trace. I mean, unless it's something where you could like a transcendent or something where perhaps you can verify that this particular serial number was all in the case, since that's how that gets packed out. But if that's true and you've got an LCS and you don't have a serious security measures in place to protect your assets and your business, I mean, nobody deserves to be robbed, but at the same time, do better. Make sure you're as secure as you possibly can be. So we're not here to get on a soapbox about security, but if you have any information, if you are in Southern California and can alert the authorities, or reach out to Mamba Cards. And so this one
runs from the comments on the YouTubes. Anyone heard of a Grip and Rip sports cards? Can't say that I have. Runs month-long giveaways. Wants you to like, subscribe, comment to win. No randomizer. Just said he chose the winner himself from the comments. Believe he's keeping the cards and scamming, and or probably sending them to a friend. Maybe gets a hold of them on Instagram. He groups.
So it sounds like somebody else that we know that is affiliated with the Hobby Hotline, and
repeats the same content every video. Comes out with a new video almost every day. More of us need to call people out on that. And if that's the case, absolutely. You say this is open to all. It's open to all, not just your friends.
No, and there was a very well-known podcaster that was allegedly doing the same thing, where he was getting manufacturers to send him product. He had created a new YouTube channel and allegedly was giving away the product in theory and keeping the stuff for himself, never actually giving it to the people that were slated to. And he is affiliated with the Hobby Hotline, has his own podcast, and is What's that?
Said was or is affiliated.
I don't know. He was when we were a part of it, and that's part of the reason we left. We didn't want to be attached to him specifically.
Well,
there are other reasons. So we're still doing this, huh? There was a YouTube channel, Degen Rips, Degen Rips, Degen.
Like degenerate, I'm assuming. Degen.
Yeah, could be Degen. Rips filmed some shelf clearers at a Walmart. He was mostly considerate. It's a minute-long video, and basically is like, I mean, the guys literally are just, you want to talk about like doing a line of Oreos? I mean, these guys are like just grabbing a line of like 6 boxes and setting it right in their cart. And
we can watch it.
Yeah, one of them hands it.
So we got 2 guys, both wearing gym shorts, both wearing socks, sandals, shoes. There goes a box of 10 or 12. Oh, wait, you can have that one blaster of Chronicles. Cool, thanks. And my internet cut out. There it goes. Boxes, more boxes, all of the boxes.
I'm good with just one. I'm just good with one. Damn, you guys take all the medicine. Is that shit blowing up, or that's like? Oh my goodness!
As he's walking away from the filmer,
can't get anything. How crazy is this? The parents? Yeah. I'm sure that's all for your kids, right? Yeah. Jesus Christ.
So if you
I'm
heard
not
him, he
even
says
talking shit.
you're about to get knocked the
I'm
F
just
out.
good, bro.
So I
So
hate to inform you that the store may have their own regulations, but if you're in public, anybody can film anybody.
Yeah, only if you're on private property and you're asked to not film, do you really? I mean, otherwise, the store could have told him not to film. But I mean, he wasn't really that confrontational. He's just like, man, the kids, and the guy's like,
Hey guys, you're going to take all of that. Left the hockey, left the MVP, left the Chronicles that nobody wants. They were seriously going down the line. It's like, yeah, oh, so we're grabbing that, like all of it, or no, we're going to grab that. Are you all of it? Yeah, okay, we grab all of that. Why? Why do you need this? It's blasters. Like the 1 in 10 chance you get something that's worth $2.
well,
Like,
and the
congrats,
D-bag in the video threatens him. It's like, dude, you're first off, you're 2 years late to the let's clear the shelves. I mean, I get that whole meta stuff is super popular right at the moment, but still, come on, man.
It's unnecessary these days. Like, just they're not even going to rip. They're obviously not ripping it. They're just going to go sell it. But like, the profit margins aren't even that much. I don't think. Like, a mosaic hanger cost you $30. What are you going to sell for? 40? What are you really making? Next to nothing.
No, I mean, we outlined when people were buying the in 2020, you're buying a blaster for 20, selling it for 40. By the time you pay for shipping and fees and everything after tax, you're literally netting about $8, whatever the math was at the time. And it's like, is that really, if you do it in volume, sure, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to sit outside a Target all day,
dude,
that's literally
bro.
what you were doing at that time.
Dude, bro, no, you got to tell all those parents to come out and pick them up if they want them.
Dude,
you know why they
can't?
can't?
Get that camera out of my face, dude.
You know why they can't? They have jobs.
Exactly.
He's like, get that camera out of my face, bro. Like, listen, dude, you're wearing a mask, which is good for you.
Props.
Okay.
Be safe.
So we can't identify your face anyway because most of it's covered up. So it's not like we're going to be able to identify you later, but good for you. You're a big boy threatening somebody. I'd love to see what this Degen or however you pronounce it guy would look like, just to see if they would scrapped. Just go full out. Let's just box over some mosaic right in the Walmart self-checkout. So card show price, and we've talked about this before. US Sports Cards had tweeted out, I guess he had recently went to a card show. How prepared should a card show dealer be? I mean, his basic rant of US Sports Cards was saying something to the effect of, a seller at a card show told him, pull what you want, and I'll tell you what I want for him afterwards.
See, that's like, when you put whatever you have in your hand back in the box and walk to the next guy.
Yeah, I'm good, dude. If you're going to pull out your phone and look up eBay comps, I'm done.
I don't mind that so much for like a single huge large purchase. Okay, sure, maybe. Mm-hmm. But if you have no prices on things and it's no clear delineation of this is $1, this is $5, nobody wants that sticker shock. Don't be that guy. And have some sort of organizational skill. If all of the penny sleeves are $0.25, all of the top loaders are $1, whatever you want to do, that's a much better system than, just grab whatever, bro, and then we'll work out a deal.
No, I'm not going to do that just to find out that you're going to try to price gouge me, or we're not going to come to an equitable price.
Okay,
that's
cool. I'll just
do your
go to
research
the next
ahead of
person.
time.
Yeah, like Steph said, I mean, if you've got like a super high-end card, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I was at a card show a long time ago, and dude had an 87 tops, graded, I forget, a 9 or a 10. And my dad's like, you interested in that? I'll buy it for you. I'm like, yeah, okay, let's ask with the guy. And the guy's like, oh, let me look it up. And I was like, I asked him, I said, you're getting on eBay? He goes, yeah, I'm going to look up comps. I'm like, all right. I started walking away because I thought you were interested in the card. I said, not if you're going to look up comps. He's like, well, I need to know what it's going for. I'm like, cool, that's cute. I kept walking away. It's like, dude, stop. If you want to comp it out based on current comps with a card that's not all that fluid, right?
Do it the weekend of.
It's pretty static. Yeah. An 87 McGuire is not going to change overnight. If you had to price that last Tuesday and here it is Saturday morning, sorry, market's not going to shift that much. If it was an $80 card on Tuesday, it's still going to be $80 card today.
I mean, I can kind of understand when, for some reason, no understandable reason that Tiger Woods just shoots up in the amount of sold listings on eBay or other places just for some reason this week. But I mean, if you want a Tiger Woods, you probably already have it.
Bottom line is, if you've got cards like, say, Wander Franco cards in your showcase, if you do not price them the night before, hell, slap a sticker on it that says 5% less than current market worth. Put something on it that says market worth, or to be determined, something. So as a buyer, I can look at it and say, what do you mean by that? Okay, well, it's a very fluid card, and I will sell it for 5-10%. Alex, you interested in buying it? Yeah. Okay, what's your price? Okay, let's look up comps together, see what it's currently going for, and then we'll figure out a price. I will tell you the price before you make a decision of whether or not you're interested. And then if you're like, hey, I'm okay with $195, cool, let me take it out of the case. You can take a look at it. Now you know the price. Are you interested?
It's that simple.
Slight ding on it, or would you take 180? Okay, then we can talk. But no, I'm not going to dig out a bunch of stuff and have you tell me, oh, this is that. Seriously, I wasted all that time. I'm not buying at that price. So yeah, sellers need to be more prepared, or just have a whole showcase that says, hey, these ones are going to be comped day of, and all these ones are going to be pre-priced because these ones are just too fluid right now. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then as a buyer, somebody that might get irritated and might bite back when you're like, hey, I'm going to look up on eBay. At least I know if I look at something in the showcase that you are going to look on eBay prior to selling it. I'm okay with that because I can walk away from your showcase or I can engage with that particular card.
Well, and really, it's so easy to walk down an aisle at a show and see slab city. Hey, box of dime cards. Slab, box, 5,000 count box. Stop and look at it.
Yeah. Just you need to have enough communication between the unspoken communication. And
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with slabs. They're probably out of my price range. That's why they're in the case.
Yeah. Just real quick before we get out of here, one last thought. I thought it was kind of interesting. Also, U.S. Sports Card asked, bad weather the day of a card show, does it affect the turnout? More, less, or no difference? And are you more or less likely to go if it's bad weather?
Generally, I've seen either the same people show up or more.
Indoors, something to do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You were planning to go to your kid's Little League game, but the Little League game got canceled, and just down the road's the card show.
I think overall,
hours with the kiddo.
Unless you're in a snow area where it's not conducive to going because the weather is just so bad. I think if it's just some rain, even if it's a thunderstorm, if it's not like deadly rain, where it's unsafe to drive or impossible to drive, I don't think it would affect it in a negative way. Perhaps, like Steph said, plans get altered.
Yeah.
No more picnic, no more drive to the beach, no more this, that, or the other thing. I was at the zoo in Sacramento today, and a kids playground across the street, and a amusement ride park today. And amusement park ride said, hey, if the sky is cloudy, call before you come. My whole plans today would have been, let's assume this was a Saturday and not a Wednesday, everything would have been altered if it was bad weather. So yeah, we would have been doing something else, going to a movie, going to a mall, going to a card show. So yeah, there's that. So
here's a cool one for you. Given the likely AL Rookie of the Year, Bobby Witt Jr. for Shep's team got the call up to stay up, you guys ever seen something like this?
That is crazy.
The entire head, it looks like it got burn tooled in Photoshop off the card.
Looks like a picture from Back to the Future where Bobby Witt's slowly going away because his dad. Damn it, Bobby Witt Sr. Stay out of Steph's DeLorean.
Bobby what? Jr.?
Just completely missing. It looks like it's got like the Marvel snap effect.
I was just going to say it looks like Thanos snapped his fingers.
That is cool. So what happened? Is that just a print error where something played?
I'm assuming it's a printing error, yeah.
Did Vosbrink comment? He did.
He did, of course. I've seen ink voids before, most famously the 1990 Frank Thomas misprint, as well as missing plates, 1982 blacklist, but someone makes wonder if there's a problem with the plastic stock. Looks to me like it had bad cloning in Photoshop. His head normally over the border, yet here it's a border copy which looks cloned where his head should be. That's weird.
This is what I love about our friends. It's like we look at this and think it's interesting, but you always know somebody. And Booby Main and Nick Vosbrink came to the rescue and basically explained what most likely happened. My thought would be how many of those are out there, and got to have one if you're a collector of Wit. I want one.
Yeah.
If it's my guy, I want one.
One of one error.
Can't be too many of them. Likewise, I had somebody contact my work asking if we'd seen this and how much is it worth. Now, I mean, we can't give you a valuation. That's up to you to price on our marketplace. However, I thought, given who it is and what it is, you guys would like this. Let me find where the picture was, scrolling all the way up. That's Sean Manaya. That is some Prism stuff. That's pictures on my cheap. 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Preparation. What are show notes? Here it is. Boom. This is a PSA 9. Beckett graded 9.5. 2011 Mike Trout missing foil on front. So it has the space where the foil should have been, but it's not there. There's no top.
Is that
in the corner.
the most common thing that comes up with forgeries of this card, or
It's news to me. It would make sense.
that's the most thing? Like when people are like, "Hey, is this one real?" Most people talk about the foil not being a part of it when it's a
It's an expensive process, sure.
fake.
It's my understanding.
Interesting.
But Beckett graded it, so.
Well, take that for what it is. That's why I'm bringing it up. Not to say anything, but I'm kind of saying something.
Hey, so about Brian, as he came up pre-show, Bowman Brent asks, you guys fan of Leaf products? Depends on the release. I bought the 1/1 Luis Rodriguez Leaf Flash the other night. Grade or not to grade a 1/1? What do you guys think if you have time? Why would you? It already has its highest price. I mean, protection, sure. Maybe.
As far as Leaf goes, a lot of their stuff is repacked product. The stuff that they do, obviously is unlicensed outside of the people that they have exclusives with. I don't usually check the checklists very much just because I'll say this. I bought a Conseco one time. I forget which product it was from. It was a really nice card. Really impressed. And I told Brian that. I even mentioned it, showed it on this show the following week after I got it, said, hey, this is a really good product, Brian. Good job. But by and large, when I see all of these products come out, I don't look at the checklist, despite being a super collector and wanting anything and everything card related that I can get my hands on within reason. I just don't look at the checklists. Some of the McGuire stuff that I've seen, like Leaf Brilliance, I believe it was, that recently came out, or Valiant or something. The McGuires, and they are Cardinals, but I'm trying not to have that be basis for my opinion. They just look homemade. And I'm not trying to knock Brian Gray. I'm not trying to knock Leaf. That's just my opinion. They look like something that custom card makers would make. And there are custom card makers that make better looking cards than Leaf, in my opinion. And that's just my opinion. So, but by and large, I like Brian. I did get into him a couple weeks ago with him about the whole, or last week, whatever it was. I think it was last Monday, about the whole Topps announcement on the WWE license, which apparently is now down to 1 year, not 3 years, allegedly. If that is in fact true, then Fanatics got what they wanted. And that's the public play. That's exactly what I told Brian that was going to happen. They were trying to get a reduction or an outright exit by Panini out of that license so Topps can continue their relationship with WWE under the Fanatics umbrella. And Brian's like, I just can't believe it. I'm like, this is a public play. It happens all the time, being my point. And some other people hopped in and they're like, anyway, not to rehash that, but
name this player and card from the ASCII art representation, High Heat Stats. Who, if you guys aren't following or check out, it's totally worth doing. He has a lot of great content. They have a lot of great content. But on screen in different keyboard symbols and colors is the representation of
George Brett.
1975 Topps.
yeah.
That's
Or-
actually
Is that Jackie?
No. It's a
Interesting.
68.
Carew?
It's the Rod Career.
Oh,
I wasn't even looking at the bubble in the bottom that would have gave it away that it was a 68. All right, guys. Well, Uncle Rich is going to be really mad at us because we passed 2 hours. I know Alex is on the East Coast and it's super late there, so we're going to get him out of here. We have Jared Kelly and possibly Matt Major from
Hey,
Cardboard.
you wanted to get rid of him.
That'd be nice. Like, let's get it
wait.
after 1 o'clock there. So we're gonna have Jared Kelly from Topps Living and Matt Major from Cardboard Stats, which I believe is confirmed next week. Remember, we're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on YouTube.
10 Central.
Make sure to subscribe and review on our show and all platforms. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at About the Cards. Follow Steph at Junk Wax Twins. Alex, if you want to give us your handle and spell your last name so that people know where to find you.
absolutely. My Twitter handle is at A Viscioni, spelled A V like Victor, ISCIONI. You can also find me on YouTube at Big Al's Cards, not Big Al's Card Shop, not Little Big Al's Cards, just Big Al's Cards.
Gotcha.
Is that from
And-
South Park?
No, actually, my grandfather used to call me Big Al all the time, so I kind of just stuck with that.
Okay.
That's
fair.
awesome.
Yeah.
And then you can follow me at Our Trading Cards. We're going to get out of here because Uncle Rich is going to definitely be upset when he sees the timestamp. Please share your hobby stories, great polls, send your questions our way. We'd love to hear your thoughts as we wrap up the show as we head into episode 200 in a few weeks. Take care, and we'll see you next week.
See you guys then. Bye.